Okay, so let's talk about Bob Dylan. Back in 1963, right in the thick of the Cold War, he wrote this absolutely furious anthem. And the wild thing is, it feels like it could have been written yesterday. The song is Masters of War, and it's not just a protest song, it's a straight-up indictment. So that's the big question, right? Who exactly are these masters? And how is it that a song that's over 60 years old still hits so hard, especially when you look at our political world today? We're going to tear into Dylan's lyrics, piece by piece, and see how they echo in the kind of language we hear from leaders right now. So look at how he opens. Come, you masters of war. I just want you to know I can see through your masks. I mean, right from the jump, he's not singing about war in some abstract way. No, he is pointing a finger, he's confronting the people in charge. When he says, I can see through your masks, he's basically calling them out, saying, yeah, I'm not buying your patriotic speeches and your PR spin. And man, is that a theme that still holds up when you start listening to political rhetoric today? All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First up, the indictment. Who is he actually going after? Then we'll get into their methods, how they operate. From there, we'll look at the human cost, the consequences, and we'll wrap it up with the final verdict Dylan lays down. Let's do it. Okay, part one, the indictment. Let's figure out who these masters of war really are. Because Dylan, he's painting a really specific picture of power here, a type of power you can definitely still see around. So listen to who he calls out. You that build all the guns, the death planes, the big bombs. But then look at this. You that hide behind walls, you that hide behind desks. And that is the absolute key here. He's not, and I mean not, blaming the soldiers. He's going after the architects, the people who profit from it all, the politicians and manufacturers, the ones who are safe and sound hiding behind their desks. This whole idea of a leader being completely detached from the consequences of their own decisions, it's such a powerful critique. And it's a perfect lens for looking at modern leaders who talk tough with all this militaristic language, but are always, miles away from any actual fight. And then he hits them with this. You that never done nothing but build to destroy, you play with my world like it's your little toy. The world as a little toy. I mean, wow. Just think about that for a second. It's so chilling because it points to this total lack of empathy, a way of seeing the world where entire countries, entire populations are just game pieces. And you know what? That kind of dehumanization is the first step you have to take to justify violence. It's a classic tactic we see over and over again from leaders who want to drum up support for a war. All right, so we've identified the who. Now for part two, the methods. How exactly do these masters control everything? This right here is the core of it. You put a gun in my hand and you hide from my eyes and you turn and run farther when the fast bullets fly. It's the central hypocrisy of the entire song. The powerful send other people's kids to go fight and die while they themselves stay completely safe. It's a devastating takedown of any kind of leadership that makes conflict sound glorious from a distance. A pattern that, let's be honest, is incredibly familiar when you listen to some political figures today. And I love this line. You fasten the triggers for the others to fire. Fasten the triggers. What a brilliant phrase. It's not emotional, it's mechanical, it's deliberate. This isn't about the chaos and heat of a battle. It's about the cold, calculated business of building the machines of war. So after they've set the whole thing in motion, what do? Then you sit back and watch when the death count gets higher. They just become spectators. The death count isn't people, it's just a number on a screen, a statistic. There's no human cost. And that detachment, that is the ultimate moral crime here. It's the danger we always have to watch out for whenever leaders start talking about war in these abstract, dehumanizing ways. And this just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you have the masters who hide in your mansion, hide behind desks, and lie and deceive. And on the other side, the victims. Young people's blood flows out of their bodies, buried in the mud. I mean, this is the absolute heart of the song's moral fury. This stark, brutal contrast between the safe, comfortable lives of the powerful and the horrific reality for those on the battlefield. That's the hypocrisy that makes this song burn. So we've seen who they are and what they do. Now, part three, the consequence. What is the real human cost of all this? Because Dylan says it's way, way deeper than just the body count. He says the worst thing they hurl at the world isn't bombs. It's fear. A fear that's so deep it poisons the very idea of a future. I mean, listen to this. You've thrown the worst fear that can ever be hurled, fear to bring children into the world. This is just a devastating line. Think about it. To make a world so terrifying that the most natural human impulse, to have a family, to have children, becomes an act of fear, That's a crime against the future itself. It's an incredible condemnation of any leader who puts war and power ahead of the simple hope for the next generation.
Okay, now for the final act, the verdict. This is where the song completely shifts gears. It stops being a political critique and becomes a raw, personal, and absolutely fiery judgment.
So he knows what they'll say, right? Oh, he's just young and doesn't understand. But he completely cuts them off at the pass. You might say that I'm young, you might say I'm unlearned, but there's one thing I know. He's basically saying, you don't need a fancy degree to see pure evil. And then he drops this bombshell. Even Jesus would never forgive what you do. Wow. That's not just saying you're wrong, that's saying your actions are fundamentally, biblically unforgivable. And now the interrogation begins. He looks them right in the eye and asks, let me ask you one question. Is your money that good? He goes right for the motive, the money. It's such a simple question, but it's so profound. Is any amount of profit really worth all this death and destruction? And he doesn't let up, he just keeps pushing. Will it buy you forgiveness? Do you think that it could? He's backing them into a corner, forcing them to face the fact that their money and their power mean absolutely nothing when it comes to a final moral judgment.
But you know what? He doesn't even wait for an answer. He gives them the answer himself. A final, damning verdict. All the money you made will never buy back your soul. Game over.
And just when you think it's over, he delivers the final blow. And this is not some call for peace and love. This is a curse. And I hope that you die, and your death will come soon, and I'll stand over your grave till I'm sure that you're dead. I mean, it is just raw, it is personal, and it is shocking. He wants them gone. It's an absolutely unforgettable ending that just shows you the sheer depth of the rage he's feeling. So, after all that, we're left with this question. This song was written more than 60 years ago. Why does it still hit like a punch to the gut? Why does that figure of the master of war, this person hiding behind a desk, playing with the world like a toy, why does that still feel so recognizable? Well, maybe the answer is that the kind of power he's talking about, the kind of rhetoric, the danger of leaders who see the world as their own personal playground, maybe that never really goes away.